Welcome. We're so glad you're joining us on your portal pathway and are part of the Bells Board community. I'm Jennifer from Bells Board, and this video will cover how to set up your board roster and committees. To set up your board roster, click on the blue Board Members module button. When you start with a blank slate here, the first thing you will do is click Manage. There are three parts to the board roster. The first is the term. It's important to note that the term is the overall term for this current board. So if your board members are nominated for 2 or 3-year terms, but they're not all on the same term, you will probably want to set up annual terms so that as members come on and off, you always have a current roster. You want a current roster in the system so that number one, all your users can see who's currently on the board, who's the president, etc. But also because when you grant document permissions to the board, the correct people should be able to see those. And when you set up a new board meeting, you want the attendee list to populate automatically with the people that are currently on the board. So the first thing you will do is add your term. And if, for example, you're on a fiscal year and you vote in new board members to start on July 1st, you would put this back to July 1st, and then you would put the end date of June 30th. Or if you have much more of a rolling term, you can leave it open for now and not put in an end date. If you do put in an end date, of course, you need to click that button and put in the date, and then you would save it. So I have a term right here that starts June 20th. These are my terms. Next, I'm going to go over to the Members tab. Once you create a term, you can add members to that term. Here I have multiple terms, so I have a drop down, but you should see your term here, and you can begin by adding members to the current term. Another important note, your board members must be users in the system before they can be added to the board member roster. So again, you would click Add here. In the member field, if you start typing their name, then the users will pop up and you pick the correct one. Now, notice I have a start date and end date here too. This is that particular board member's term. So again, if your terms are overall terms or year by year, but someone's voted in for 2, 3, or 4 years, you would put their start and end date here. If they have a role on the board, such as president, secretary, etc., you could note that here. And then any particular notes if needed, and then click Save to save that board member. The third tab here is a moderator tab. You could add someone who's in the system to be the board moderator. What that means is they would be able to set up meetings and edit meetings for the board. So it could be a regular user. They don't have to have admin permissions and be able to do other things, but you could allow them permission just to manage meetings for the board. And I'll show you that when we look at committees. Now, let me go back to Manage Home here. And I'm going back to board members. So I went ahead and set up my board. This is my current roster. right? This for my active term right now. And again, to make edits to the terms, I hit manage, but notice you can also add a member here. So if you forgot somebody or somebody new joins midway, you can just click add member. Again, search for that user and add them here. And the committees work similarly. If I click committees, first I will click add committee to set up your committees. And they will start with 0 people in them, of course. Once you just set up the committee, click view. And then just like with your board roster, you will click manage to tweak your committee title or description, set up your terms, add or edit the members, or set a moderator for that committee. Thanks again for joining us on your portal pathway. If you have questions, you can email support@bellsboard.com. The next video on the Portal Pathway series covers how to add and edit meetings. See you soon.